Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is A Woman's Prerogative. And I'm super excited to announce that our website that's specifically devoted to our panelists and this show is under construction. Our team has had a look at it. It's almost finished. You'll soon be able to go to A Woman's Prerogative TV radio show.com. All right, let's meet our panel. I'm excited to announce that today's episode is going to be hosted and moderated by Amber J. Lawson. Let's welcome her to the program. Hi.
Ooh, hello. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to you, my friend. Yes. Let's bring out the rest of the panel. We have Kathy Fulton. Hi, Kathy.
Hey. Hi.
Hi. We've got JENETTA Barry. Hello.
Hello.
And we've got Princess Dr. DESZIREE. Welcome.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi. I'm switching places with Amber. She's running the show today.
Watch out. Here we go. So today, anything else you want to share with us, Dr. JACALYN, before we hop into today?
Yes, I do have one thing to share. Thank you so much for asking. Today, I woke up to a positive email. Isn't that nice? That
Yes.
I heard from the United States Patent and Trademark Office that USA Global TV has now been registered. And I was a little nervous because one of the attorneys during the process of approvals actually called me and said that she was hoping it was going to go through. She wasn't sure. There were a lot of hurdles because it's a TV channel. And she said, but I'm putting it out there for you to get it approved. And about 2 months later, it's approved. So thank you to that attorney, and to the energy gods, and to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, congratulations. Fantastic news. Wow, congrats.
Thank you. So Amber J, I am really excited. My goal for this platform is that I am not on every show. That is right. That it is USA Global TV truly, and not Dr. JACALYN TV. So I am just excited to have the opportunity for you to take over this show and for me to just sit back and answer questions.
Well, I acknowledge you for having the vision to create this platform, and then the emotional intelligence and knowing that the ripple effect happens when I tap in my community, when I allow others to use their gifts and talents to shine. I mean, raise your hand if you agree that it's really hard sometimes to pry our hands away from our babies, our projects, the things that you birthed this into the world. So, you know, it's scary to allow others to take the reins. And are they going to screw up my baby? And sorry not sorry in advance that we're going to stir the pot today. But I appreciate and acknowledge you for giving us this platform and having this discussion. It's so important. I am curious. So today what we're going to talk about, we have a lot of angles to come at this topic today, but women's issues are men's problems is our overarching topic for the day today. So I would like to go around the horn and hear, what does that mean to you? Where are there specific problems? Where do you want to dig in? And we can each talk into to these topics. So first up, Kathy.
Okay, So women's issues, say it again. You lost me.
Yes. Okay. Women's
Sorry.
issues are men's problems. Women's issues are men's problems. What does that mean to you?
Women's issues are men's problems. Well, I think, I mean, I can just raise my hand on this one, overthinking, because I know my husband, I mean, tells me all the time, you're overthinking it. You're overthinking it. For God's sake, just go with it and stop. So, that's one way my stuff becomes his problem. But other than that, I mean, I don't.
Well, let's talk about that for 1 second. But like, let's open it up to the panel. Why do you think that women, and you're not alone in this, right? That we overthink? Is it?
Well, mine is, I'm sorry. I didn't. Okay. So I can tell you why I do. I think it's just because I don't particularly care to be blindsided with things. And so I always, I guess for lack of a better word, want to have my game on, want to be able to pivot, want to be able to handle all situations and take care of it. I like to take care of an issue and move on, be able to cross it off my list. And not everybody likes to meet that semi coming down the road at them. But I like to meet things head on. So I think that's.
Is that your personality, or is that by being a woman?
I don't know. I just think I'm weird. I mean,
not at all. Not at all.
I'm just weird.
Welcome to the club.
But I just, I don't know. I think it's just kind of a result of life circumstances that I've been in, that maybe I was always wired that way and didn't realize it. And then things started happening. And it's like, okay, look, if I'm going to survive at all in this world, I need to be able to be prepared. So I think it's just my preparation mode.
And so, has being a woman been a part of that overthinking? Like, if you're just to reflect on who you be, is that part of where that overthinking comes from?
I mean, I've met a few men acquaintances over the years that think a little bit like me, but I for the whole, I would say that men don't overthink it. I think key issues on their mind. And I think, like, every few seconds is probably sex, so, I mean, like, what's for dinner sex, go to the gym sex. I mean, I think that's how they're wired. I think very few would admit that, but I really think if we could, like, hypnotize them or, like, drill down, I really think that that's the way they're wired. So overthinking, I don't think they really care, as long as, it kind of fits that mode.
Well, the masculine is about purposeful, penetrating, every pun intended.
I would love to step in here. Hi to everyone watching all across the globe. Welcome to another episode of Women Prerogative. And I just want to say, like, women, our issue is sometimes that we don't get enough help in the home. So I think that's one of our issues with the men, so men need to, to also help in the house. I think this is the issue with women, is that we find that most of our men don't have time to help us in the home front. And I think this is an issue that many women are facing. And so I think this is definitely an issue. And so we invite men
to become men's problems. So I get that it's women's issues to not be supported. A, how do we get to take responsibility for that? And B, how is it their problem?
Well, their problem is because sometimes they don't want to do it. They might say, like, I provide for the family. I go from 9 to 5. I work hard, especially if the woman is a housewife, and they feel like there's no need. So this is not their issue to help in the home. So I think that is something that they should consider that they should, give their wife at home and, help the family more in the home. That's what I think. So that's why it become an issue for them, because they might want to do it because of their 9 to 5 job, and they feel like they are the ones that are responsible financially for the family to give support in every way. And then women, it's like an issue because they feel that they need more support from the husband in the home front.
And how would you recommend that a woman broach this subject?
I think about being, talking to the husband, and for both of them to understand and being considerate of each other's responsibilities and how best they can support each other in, in a more grounded way in terms of support and, of course, well-being and emotional intelligence, which means that if the lady is doing so much at home, especially with the kids, and she's tired, and once they have a proper understanding on how each other feel about the support that they can give each other, then it won't be an issue, because then they will have a balance in the home front.
Anyone else would like to add to that?
Yeah.
Dr.
Okay.
Justina, Kathy? Okay.
Okay. So can we just like cut to the chase? I mean, and I mean, Princess Desiree is so eloquent, and mine's going to be like the complete other end of the spectrum. Do I have everyone's blessing just to like let it rip and just tell you how I would do it? Okay. So let me give you the latest case in point in our household. And then I promise to stop talking and I'll let someone else talk. Okay. So every night, the big thing in our house is who's going to make the coffee, because we get up every morning around 5-ish. Okay. And we have coffee, and then he goes to the gym. Okay. So, it's an ongoing battle. Okay. So, and then every night we get into bed and we are exhausted. He has his own business. I have mine. I have my mom to deal with. It's just, we're absolutely exhausted. And so, I just decided, okay, look, that if he would make the coffee, that's like the one chore that he would have to do around the house. Okay. So I put in an incentive plan in order for him to take over the coffee. Okay. So this is what I told him. I said, so look, I'll just be real clear here. If you'll make the coffee every night, we'll have sex every night. And he was like, fine, done. Got it. I got it. Okay. So he started making the coffee, and things have been going great. Okay. So then this morning I was by the sink because we're too tired in the morning to walk all the way to the kitchen. So we have the coffee bar in the bathroom, in the master bathroom. How bad is that? So anyway, I noticed this morning that last night when he made coffee, he spilled grounds on the floor in the bathroom, and he didn't clean it up. And I was like, oh yeah, no, this isn't the way that this is supposed to go. You just don't get to be like a teenager and like you're going to throw something in the trash and then, oops, it didn't hit the trash. And then I'm just going to walk by and act like it didn't happen. So he usually calls me like mid-morning. And so he called me, and I'm like, okay, deal's over, deal's off. And he's like, what deal? And I'm like, our deal, you make the coffee, we have sex. And he's like, yeah, what? He began to panic a little bit, and I'm like, I gotcha, don't I? And he's like, yeah, what's the problem? And I'm like, there were grounds on the floor. So, and he's like, what? And that means I'm busted. And I'm like, yeah, there were coffee grounds on the floor, and it's a problem. So deal's over. And he's like, I swear to God, when I get home, I'll get the vacuum and it'll all be, I promise. He's like, can we please go back? Can we please reinstate? Okay. So that's how it works at my house. I have an incentive plan. Like I said, I mean, Dr. Desiree, yours is so eloquent and mine is so not, but I mean, I don't have to make the coffee anymore. So, I mean,
so in other words, you were speaking in his value system to get what you wanted.
Right. And it's like I said, I know how his brain works. I believe it's like, what's for lunch, sex, gym, sex. I mean, I know, I just feel that that's what, and I think he would probably agree. That's the way
I have to say,
Go ahead, Jacqueline.
I was just going to say, I don't know that all men are thinking about sex all the time. I think they're thinking about sex and money. I know men who are obsessed with money. And when I was coming up with this topic and researching what are people interested in hearing, I felt two things. I took two things from the topic. The first was, our issues are their issues because men love to fix things. So if we're in a relationship with it's a woman and a man, the man is going to hear our problems and he wants to fix the problems. So therefore, it's a burden, it's onerous, it's keeping him from the sex and the money because he has to fix your problem. And the second thing is, at a much higher level, at a strategic level, the issues that we have as women, they cannot be resolved just by us alone. We need men to support what it is that we're asking from the universe. It can't just be women banding together. We also need the support of men. So I looked at it as two different levels.
A much higher level than me.
Yeah, and that is so true. And this is yeah, Jacqueline, Dr. Jacqueline, which is so true. When we think about communication about the different issues that we are faced with. And once you are considerate about each other's feelings, this is when you can sit down and you can discuss the issues and how you can solve them. So yeah, I love that. Thank you.
So let's talk about, well, first of all, I want to acknowledge you for getting clarity. One of the things that is a woman's issue is we basket, right? We have lots of things running through our minds, and other women track this. We know that Kelly was dating Johnny and is also seeing this guy, and that they broke up, but then they're back together. Like, we track all, and where the kids have to be, and if we need the bill renewed, we track all of this stuff. And like we were talking about earlier, the masculine is single-minded, getting to the point, and pointed and purposeful, and solving the problem, right? So when we get clear and specific, like Kathy did, that he can solve your problem because he loves you and he wants you to be happy, that he can solve your problem by this one thing, and you have an exchange that works out for the both of you, that's fantastic, right? But being that clear, that clarity allows the masculine to step in. So I acknowledge you for the clarity, and that's a great takeaway that we can take today. And like JENETTA, if you want to lean into what you were saying, is the value system, how value systems work.
Yeah, one of the things I have noticed is that when you're wanting to communicate accurately and clearly and specifically, it's really helpful to listen to what that other person values the most. And then you speak in their language. Instead of it being Greek, you speaking Greek and they're speaking Spanish, you're both speaking the same language. And he or they feel listened to and identified, as though you're planting the seed of what has to be done, and it's their idea. It's the most amazing thing when you speak in any person's value system, not just men. And it's finding out how to listen to what their value system is, and then speak in that language, and then suddenly they'll do anything and everything, provided they've got your interest at heart, of course. If they're fighting you and opposing you, but even then you can still find a way to do their value system. But there comes a point where if you've got somebody really opposing you, you go, well, you go your way and I'll go mine. But it's that value system I've seen time and time and again. And another thing that I see in all of this is opposites attract for a reason. And that's why we're the yin and the yang, because whatever we don't identify or whatever we judge in ourselves, we attract that so often in our partner on the journey of learning how to understand the complete whole picture. So we become each other's inadvertent teachers as men and women. So whatever we're dealing with, it does become the man's problem, and vice versa. Because the number of women that go, he just doesn't even understand how I feel. He'll tell me how I must feel in logic, but not how I feel. So it's finding that balance of listening differently.
And a job to cultivate that, right? We are different. We're different. And those opposites do attract. That's polarity. That's what makes sexy time. That's what we like, right? The thing that makes us crazy is the thing that turns us on. All right. Dr. Justina, tell me.
I got into in the middle of this, and I just want to apologize to everybody on the panel as well as the listeners that I joined in a little late. But I'll just back on to Jeanette's point of value system. There is something that is has been called 5 languages of love. And if you can understand the language, if 2 partners can understand each other's language, then you are bound to get on very well. And for example, one partner's language would be in giving gifts. And we have seen this very much where perhaps a husband or boyfriend might upset a girlfriend, and then they come back bearing diamonds. So for them, that is a sign of love. For other people, their language of love is touching the next person. There are other people, it's just companionship. So once you understand the language of love of your partner, then you could get on very well. Then that is the value system. If you understand the value system of your partner, which would be the language of love that your partner believes in. And then the other point is that the question was to say, are women's issues men's problems? I don't know how wide we are supposed to go with that. Does this include, for example, women's issues is it only in their personal lives we are talking about, or are we also talking about women's professional lives?
Sure, so let's go there. Yes.
Yes. So when we talk about, for example, women's professional lives, we find that in most leadership positions, we have the majority of men, and the men drive the agenda, and they decide who sits at that table. So the problems perhaps that women have would be caused by men because they make the rules, and then there's this institutionalized discrimination of women, which makes women, no matter how qualified you are for a certain position, if you're a woman, they would rather pick a man over you. But then let's also go back. We are the women. We bring humanity into the world. We nurture humanity. We bear these children, the boy children. So what do we teach them? That at a certain point, the table tilts and they turn, and we have to abide by what they are telling us to do. That is it's a very important question for us to consider as women, because when a baby boy is born, of course, they are born of a woman. Yeah, even if the father is there, most of the time, it's the woman that is nurturing this boy child and telling them how to navigate the world. So where do we as women go wrong? That these baby boys that we have brought into the world, at a certain stage, they turn against the very gender that nurtured them and showed them the way in the world. Where do we go wrong? So are we right in believing that women's issues are caused by men, or perhaps we do also at some point bear some of the blame?
100%. We teach all people in our lives, how to treat us. So I think you are hitting the nail on the head in how are we responsible? I'm 100% responsible for 100% of my results in all areas of my life. So I love you bringing in where the responsibility of how we're raising our children, and where are we allowing this to be the truth. I know so many men are raised by powerful women and are surrounded by the divine feminine, and then kind of shoved out into the world and taught something different at a later date. Anyone have thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with how, if you're in a partnered relationship, how, where the boundaries are and how you're interacting with the partner in your life, because that's the leading by example. So you may be the powerhouse and the nurturer and the leader and the confidant to your son, but if your partner's not giving you the respect or not giving you the time of day, and it can be subtle, it doesn't have to be blatant abuse. And if he's not 100% behind what you do in front of that child, and then sort of questioning or whatever method of being able to express to each other. But if that's missing there in the relationship, that is the role model of mother, father that's coming through to that child, going, one day when I'm the adult, I'm going to be like my dad or the father figure in my life. And so often that's where it does go skew.
Yeah, but we could still go back and say the dad was once a baby boy born of a woman.
Yes,
so
it goes with the.
We then allow this. Then there's the other issue of how, for example, in families where you have boys and girl children, and this has been common, and there've been a few studies where in a household where you have boy and girl children, that for some reason the parents decide what chores the girl should do and what the boy should do. And then in most cases, again, in the majority of cases, you find that, for example, you're asking the girl child to help clean the house, wash the dishes, do this and that, while the boy is just sitting there watching television or doing things like that. So if you bring up those children in that way, then when they grow up, of course, the boy child is going to expect that his wife should behave the way perhaps and also if he's been watching his mother and his sister doing these things, then when he gets married, he'll expect the wife to do the same chores and, of course, take the same role that perhaps his mother took and his sister took in the house, where he believes that certain things in the household are to be done by women, and men should never even do those things. It still goes back to the parents and, of course, the mother in that house, in how they brought up those children.
I just want to say that the divine. Go ahead.
Yes. You know what I love about this topic tonight is that it's such a broad topic for discussion, and there are so many angles that you can bring this topic to light in terms of women issues in their personal life, which means their intimate life. There are many women facing issues in romantic relationships, abuse, mental abuse, their well-being. So this is another angle. And there's also societal issues that women are facing, like in terms of equality. And women feel that this is the men problems because we need more equal pay and all of these things. So I mean, I love this topic because, as I said, we can take this to so many different angles, and also in their career as well. As Justina said about, Dr. Justina said about women, what can they bring to the table? I mean, women now, I think, like in the next decade, women are standing, and I always say standing. We are standing, we are stepping, and also we are staying in our greatness. And this is the year of the women. I think women now and in the next decade is going to be less of a man's problem because we're stepping in and we're taking over different positions. I think this is the era for women as I speak, and more men are also supporting women, so it shouldn't be a bigger issue for them because we have so many empowering platforms that bring in these awareness about women issues and how men can, there are men problems and how men can also help solve these problems that women are facing on a daily basis. So this is a beautiful topic tonight, and as I said, we can take this in so many different angles.
Well, let's talk about equal pay. Let's talk about how women navigate leadership roles in corporate environments. I'd love to hear a couple points of view on that. I have a point of view, and why we are being paid less. Who'd like to hop in? Dr. JACALYN?
Amber, I was going to say, I'd love to hear what you have to say, and then I'll jump in.
Well, so in the research I've done, the masculine, again, is all about pointed, purposeful, and like competing, getting it done, winning. What's the word I'm looking for when they're talking about getting a raise, or that's my dog. Hi, Leo. He says hi to everyone. When we are negotiating for salaries, it's not personal for the masculine, but the feminine side of all of us comes from building community, and it is assumed that the amount of money that is offered is the amount of money that is available. So we are not pushing the limit. We're like, why would you not offer me all that's available? And that's the distinction between the two. So we don't. So in the feminine, we don't push the limits. We take it personal, like that we're hurting the community. Thoughts?
Thank you, Amber J. Yes, I agree. And I'll add on to that. In my experience, having spent my whole career in corporate until I started doing this, I would find that I'd have to ask for the number that I wanted. So it wasn't that they're going to say, oh, we think that you're worth this. It's like, no, they're going to offer me lower and expect me to negotiate it up. Whereas with a man, they give them the offer right away. So I think that that's at least what I experienced in my career. And so what I started doing, I didn't have that many jobs in my career because I stayed places for a long time. But after I had that first experience, I knew that I was going in at a high number and that I was sticking to that number. And the only thing that was going to happen was I was going to get more benefits and more perks instead of giving things up. And if that wasn't going to be accepted as the offer, then I was moving on because I know my value.
Yes, it's worth. Money equals self-worth. Hallelujah.
Yeah. I would love to say a little bit more on that as well, if I may. I don't want to hog the whole evening. But often over the years, when I've been helping women to at home, working at home, in other words, being the home keeper, creator, and their self-worth, because often the man will look at that as menial tasks that are worthless, that just have to be done. You know, I'm out earning the money. I'm the one that has the clout and the value, and you're just doing this. And I always say to them, you know, have you sat down and worked out a list of all the duties as a mother and a wife and a housekeeper, what actually is needed, even if it's overseeing and actually doing? Write it all down. Now, imagine tomorrow if you got really ill, even died. What would it cost your partner to replace you? And they started saying, well, they'd have to get a housekeeper here and then a chauffeur there and whatever it is that they do as a wife and mother. And then they add it up and they go, oh my gosh, that's my worth. And if I wasn't there tomorrow, that's what it would cost my husband to replace me, with various other people having to step in and be paid. And the moment they were able to understand their monetary value, even though they weren't catching a salary per se, suddenly their whole conversation with that partner shifted. shifted and shifts, and there's no looking back.
Yeah, I would like to again back up on what JENETTA has just said, and also go back to what Dr. JACALYN and Amber talked about. There have been studies that have shown that women, we kind of hold back, like even when you go to an interview, for example. It's been found that when women go for interviews, they'll say the minimum of things that they have done, even on their CVs, while the men will list each and every little thing that they have ever done. And also that men negotiate more or negotiate further than women do. For example, when they offer them a certain salary, the men will say, oh, but can I, they will negotiate higher. But the women will, like Amber said, or Dr. JACALYN said, the woman will just take what has been offered to them. And another thing is that men are so assertive that even though they do not meet all the requirements of the position, they will still try for that job, and they in their mind they think they can learn, and they are so assertive and so confident that they believe that they would be able to learn that job and do it. But with women, when you look at the job description and what the role entails, you go ticking and say, oh no, I can't do this. Yes, I can do that. This I cannot do. So then that gives the men an edge over the women in getting these jobs, and also getting a higher pay than the women, because normally women do not negotiate, they do not assert themselves, and they do not perhaps have, I don't know whether to use the word, enough confidence and belief, self-belief, to say that if I have done this, this is a transferable skill that I can. For example, when they ask you about budgeting, you are thinking, oh, but I didn't do an accountancy training and things like that. I don't know. But you forget that in your household, you are responsible for deciding or apportioning how your income in that house is going to be divided. What do you need for food, and how much can you spare for food? How much is going to go to the children's school uniforms and children's toys and children's leisure, and to yourself and your husband, whether he does golf or whatever it is that normally it is the women who decide in those households. Even the poorest of women, for example, in Africa, the women that sell products on the sides of the street with the very minimal income that they get from there, somehow they manage to budget that their families can survive on the little that they have. But this is a transferable skill that women do not bring to the interview or to the table when they go to seek a job. When they ask them about that, they think, oh, but I'm not an accountant, or I haven't done I never did budgeting in my training or something like that.
And this goes back to all of us empowering women to step in without the knowing, right? Without having it all figured out, overthinking it in advance, but jumping in. And because really what you're saying is they fake it until they make it. And the fact of the matter is it's all made up anyway. And once we figure that out and embrace it and support other women and bring them along, right, then we step into these roles. We figure it out. We know how to figure it out. Well, look at all we figure out. Like you're saying, all of these transferable skills, we figure it out. Amen and hallelujah.
Agree. So agree.
Yes. So, I mean, for us here in the United States, we have a real problem with guns and shootings and our children in particular, but just our well-being being jeopardized, right? We just had another school shooting, an 18-year-old male, and they tend to 99.9% of the time when these mass shootings happen, they are men and masculine in who they be. What is this? How do we stop it? this is men's problems, but this is a woman's issue. So how do we shift this? What do we do to get this out of our schools and get it out of our lexicon, out of our environment? Thoughts?
I'll start. Thank you. I really feel that at the core of all of the violence is the fact that people aren't listening to each other. We don't know how to listen. We are judging, and we are basically excluding people from our lives because of the fact that we don't agree with how they feel. And so people get resentful, and it just keeps building, and it just keeps building. I'm not talking about people who have psychological problems or other things, but I'm saying, especially in this country, we saw it during the pandemic here in the United States, and even during the election, that people hated one another. The things people were posting on social media, family members not speaking to each other anymore. So the bottom line, I feel, is that at our core, we have to be kind. We have to be compassionate. We have to be empathetic. And I know it sounds like woo-woo but it's really, it starts somewhere, and it starts as a human being. And I think it's having gratitude for the ability to breathe and to be on this planet and to actually show up and to listen to one another. I am not pro guns at all. I think it's gotten completely out of control. It's actually terrifying to think that children cannot go to school. Innocent, I could just start crying, but innocent little children going to school and they get killed. And all because of one person, whatever this person's issue is. And I think that also the social media platforms, as much as I love them because we stream on them, that apparently in this particular case, this person had put some things out there in social media. And so where's the monitoring and the hand raising that, wait, this could be a joke and it could be something serious. So I know I'm going all over the place, but I feel like at the core, it's as human beings, if we learned how to listen to each other and stop judging one another, then we could have a place to start.
You know, I totally agree with you 100%. And I always speak about this, is that what the world needs is more love and more understanding and more tolerance and harmony. And if we come concurrently as one, to really put positive thoughts out there in the atmosphere wherever we go, I think this is so crucial, because like Dr. JACALYN said, too many times we are judging, we are quick to criticize, we are quick to put down, we are quick to overlook others, we are quick to bully others. I think the whole entire society needs a big change in terms of learning to be emotionally intelligent, learning to be respectful of others, respectful of ourselves, and also to look at the bigger picture, which is that the world needs more love, kindness, gratitude. These are some of the things that we need right now. And we need to start with the new generation of children. We need to educate them on how to be kind, more kindness, more knowledge on their emotional intelligence, stop anti-bullying. How does it feel to bully someone? So more workshops, more awareness, and it needs to start with the new generation. And also we need to start right now. And it all starts with us, how we perceive each other, our thoughts that we're creating, and envy, the jealousy, and all of these low frequencies that we're tapping into. And if we change our belief system and we feel great about ourselves and we support each other as one big family, and we educate ourselves and we learn more about how we behave, we ourselves more aware of our behavior, our attitudes, this can really help us make a difference in not only in our own lives, but the lives of many around the world. So it all starts with us, and we have to create that change for the new generation to understand that, the greater your heart, the greater you can become, and the greater your kids can become, the society, and of course the next generation. So it's all start with let's lead with love. That's what we need to do in this world.
Yes, let's lead with love, right? There's love or lack of love. That's all there is. So as we're rounding this out, yes, who else would like to share?
I just have one follow-up comment, which is I also think as a person now in the media, that the media has a responsibility to what we're showing to children. And for example, at least here in the United States, I don't know if it's worldwide, I'm sure people are watching, but this whole trial going on with the two movie stars, I'm not mentioning their names, and now we have these intimate, I'm not watching it, but I see, posted from the summary, we have these intimate details of what they've been doing in their lives. And there at some point people looked up to them. Wow, how cool is it to be them and have that glamorous life and everything that they're doing? And meanwhile, we're hearing behind the scenes. But my point is, why is this, I know freedom of speech, but why is this being live streamed across the world that everyone knows about it? And so children could be hearing about it. This is not the type of thing I think that we should be setting as an example for people to absorb, I guess is the word I'm trying to find.
Well, isn't it all about the ratings? It's what people will watch. That's why they're doing it, right?
Yeah, I would say that the world has become so individualistic, so self-centered, and a lot of people, it's all about me, without considering the feelings of the next person or even the person that are within their household, because all their focus is on themselves and what they can get in the world and what they decide to do in the world, and nobody should say anything about it. And I think, like Princess Desiree said, we need to go back to the core and go back into those values. For example, I am Christian, and this is not just in the Christian. In so many religions, there is one rule which is called the golden rule: to do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. And also, being from Africa, we have what we call a philosophy of Ubuntu. The philosophy of Ubuntu tells us that I am because you are, and that we all belong to a greater whole. And the suffering of others is our own suffering. And somebody did say that who would want to hurt another person if they saw that person as part of themselves? So it's all of these ideas and notions of separation that cause this. Because when you are separated from the people that you are going to hurt, then it doesn't concern you. You just want to hate them. But when you believe that you do belong to this greater whole, you are one humanity, the notion of oneness, then you would never do these things that are being done now to other people. But there are all these separations of color, separations of gender, separations of political persuasion, separations of religious persuasion, separations of this and that. So all of these things, people think they are going to hurt other people because they are not a part of it. But if we all believe that we are one humanity and to do unto others as we would want to be done unto ourselves, then all of these things would not be happening. And of course, glorifying all of these things, because there was a time where one of the, I think, gunmen said all he wanted was to have his name in lights after creating such an atrocity. There needs to be a way that this cannot happen. But then you also go back to some of these laws and rules and regulations, why it is allowed for so many people to own all these guns and to go on rampage. Why has there not been a law to stop this kind of thing? Because this keeps happening in the USA, and you hear politicians say, oh, this is terrible, children should not suffer in this way, or women, or Black people, or that, but it keeps going and going. What has been holding them back that they have not been able to resolve this? That the world or the USA cannot resolve this issue? Because what happened yesterday, was it day before, is bound to happen again, as long as nothing is changed in whether it's the Constitution or the laws regarding guns or how people can go on a rampage. Once there is a restraint, I'm going to give an example. I've always said that laws are made by people, by men and women, and they can always be changed. If you remember, when the COVID came in, overnight, everybody was told to wear a mask. Everybody was told to stand at a distance, and we all obeyed. That is a law that was rushed, and overnight it was done. Why can't a law be rushed overnight to stop these guns, to stop people owning these guns and going on a rampage to shoot people?
Exactly. Amen. Why? It's money and politicians. And we get to use our votes to make a difference. And midterms are coming up. And if you don't like it, you get to go in and vote. Vote with your vote. That's why we have
as an outsider and also as somebody who studied politics and international relations, this keeps going. No matter how much you change government, whoever comes in government, this keeps happening. You can't attribute it to one government or even to the current government. This was happening in the government before it happened, the government before it, and over and over again.
This goes to your point. We think it's us and them, and it's not the collective. But until something happens on a collective scale that we finally say no more, then this is going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought you were spot on with that, right? As long as we are separated or think we are separated, this will continue on all levels. I hear you. I'm aligned. So we have 3 minutes left, Dr. JACALYN?
Yes, we do.
All right, round the horn. Here we go. One thing, what I would like to know, does everybody know their love language? What's your love language? Do you know your love language, Kathy? JENETTA? All right, we're going to take the test, and next week we're going to come back and we're going to know your love language. All right, so we can talk to each other and support each other. So before we end today, what is one parting word? Maybe you have something going on, you want to celebrate, you want to share that's happening in your life. We got to hear from Dr. JACALYN. She's official, trademark, bada boom, bada bing. Kathy, how about you? Then JENETTA, then Princess DESZIREE, and then Dr. Justina MUTALE.
So you're wanting to know, what do I have to celebrate, or parting words?
Celebrating, or what would you like to share with us? Maybe you have something going on.
Okay. So this weekend was almost an absolute tragedy in my household. I don't have children, but I have 2 dogs that I have raised since they were 8 weeks old, Gabby and Sophie, and they are Maltipoos. Someone in my household, I won't name names, feeds them grapes or fed them grapes. And after they had been told, please don't feed my dogs anything. It's an ongoing battle. Anyway, long story short, if you didn't know it, grapes are toxic. And so I didn't know if they were going to pass or not. Anyway, it's a really long story. But we were in the ER all day Saturday, the majority of the day Sunday, and we finally got the clear on Monday. So I'm so grateful, praise God, that they are out of the woods. And however, yesterday, Gabby started shivering like she was in a blizzard. Long story short, I, being her mother, I knew what she had. She had a UTI. I took her to the vet. The vet said, oh no, we need to do blood work. We need to do a urinalysis, and we need to do radiography. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I said, can we just start with the urine? And she was like, yeah, but I'm telling you. Anyway, long story short, again, I, being her mother, I knew what she had, and she did have a UTI, and she's going to be fine. So
I'm glad. We're so glad she's out of the woods. All right.
Yay.
All right. JENETTA, quickly, what are you celebrating?
I'm celebrating that I'm getting married when I said I never would get married
What?
again.
Oh my God.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
What? Oh my God.
Congratulations. All right, Dr.
Thank you.
Desiree.
Huge.
Yeah, I just want to say every day is a celebration. So let's give thanks and be, love ourselves, be in the now, be grateful for the now, and put love in all you do. When love wins, the world wins. And I'll see you next time. All my love.
Fantastic. And Dr. Justina MUTALE.
Of course, every day we celebrate life. Life is for the living. As long as you're living, you need to celebrate life. We've lost so many of our friends through HIV and AIDS, COVID, and now we have the monkeypox. So we should just celebrate each and every day that we are alive.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm celebrating. I'm in my day 3 is tomorrow of the Wealthy Wild Woman 3-day challenge. And it's just been the transformation that's happening. This work works. I'm grateful that I get to be a vessel for this work. And thank you for giving us this platform.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another great show. And Amber J, thank you for stepping in and taking the role of host and moderator. Fantastic work. And I really am just so grateful to each and every one of you for everything you're sharing. I'm learning so much. And it's interesting that even though we are all in different places in our lives, living in different places, we all are the same. We all have so many similarities and commonalities. It's truly amazing. So we're signing off. Hopefully the next time we get together, our website will be up and running, and you can go and see the biographies of all of these powerful, incredible people who lead their lives with their heart. You can contact them. You can collaborate with them. You can work with them. You can take their workshops. You can just reach out and connect. That's what I want everyone to do. Reach out to these people here at a minimum. Go to their LinkedIn and connect with them. You'll be really glad that you did. All right, we're signing off for now. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.